What's going on, guys? Mike here for Arrow Entertainment, here with the very first video review for the channel. For those of you who know who I am, I used to do videos in the past for YouTube, and now I just mostly stick to streaming. So if you guys want to see me stream any video games at all, or check out our podcast, Tuned In Live, and Through the Doorway with our host, Cypher Xavier, be sure to follow us on twitch.tv/arrow with a name. Links are down below in the description section. Also, guys, subscribe to us to check out our stream content, such as our podcast and game streams and such, that are always re-uploaded to this channel, as well as gameplay compilations. So if you don't want to miss any of that, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be notified, and let's get into today's review. Okay, so for today's review, we have the Hyperkin Duke controller for the Xbox One. This is a replica of the original controller from way back on the OG Xbox. This is a controller that's been talked about for the past year or so, and they have finally released it, and it's been out for quite a few months. I finally got my hands on it. It's done by Hyperkin. They're usually a pretty good company when it comes to controllers and accessories and stuff. And this controller usually goes for $69.99, and I only paid $52 for clearance at GameStop. So this is basically the original Xbox controller with a few neat features on it, and I'm going to show them to you in a little bit. It does come with a 3.5 millimeter headset jack, so you can still have your headphones plugged into this controller as you're chatting away with your party. The bumpers mirror the black and white buttons, so this also has the LB and RB buttons, the shoulder buttons. I find them to be a little bit more, it's not very comfortable, and I will show you why. Also, if you notice in the center where the logo is for Xbox, that is actually an LED screen, and I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. So let me go ahead and get this box open. Okay, so first of all, we open the box, and of course we are greeted with a little note here for the Duke controllers, a quick start guide. This is basically telling you how to plug this controller in and how to turn it on, etc. So this controller is wired. You're not going to be able to use any battery packs or AA batteries with it. It's required a USB wire charger. And also we have a very special thank you card to certain members over at Microsoft, such as Phil Spencer, the Xbox community, Ryan Edelman, etc. And now for pretty much the main event, we are going to take the controller out, and I'm going to set the box on the side. I ain't got to worry about pushing the home button here because it needs to be plugged in. There is a charging port on the top there, as you can see. Also, you can see this is usually where the memory cards go for the original Duke controller, because if you remember back then, controllers like with the Dreamcast, the memory card slots were inputted into the controller itself rather than the console, and Xbox was no exception, especially with the updated controllers that they brought out with the console. So starting with the back, we do have the trigger buttons. That's weird, they kind of squeaked there for a bit. And then, of course, you got your shoulder buttons right here, RB and LB. This is a kind of, yeah, that's a little uncomfortable for me. Reach it up all that way unless you're doing something like this. This probably feels a little bit more comfortable, depending on how your grip is with these controllers. And then, of course, we got the front buttons here. You got your A, your X, your Y, and your B, of course. And then you got your traditional white and black buttons, which was on the original controller, which they were a little extras. It's kind of like the RB and LB buttons on the new controllers nowadays. We do have a start and select button, which is basically your menu buttons that you find on a regular Xbox One controller. Also the joysticks, I don't know, they feel a little too loose for me, but then again, hearing these triggers on the back, I'm kind of wondering, like, was this already used? I mean, I bought it brand new at GameStop. And then the biggest thing right now is the LED button right here that clicks in. This opens up your home screen menu on the Xbox One, but it also displays the logo of the original Xbox. So I'm going to plug this in real quick, and I'm going to show you guys what it is all about. And then of course, we can't forget the charging cable. You actually get a 9-foot cable. I shit you not. This cable is very long. Like, are you really going to sit across the room and play with this thing like 10 feet away from your TV? Not a lot of people play that far away. Let me go ahead and get this plugged in, and I will show you guys what this controller is all about. Okay, so I'm going to plug this in right in the back, and it's going to vibrate when it comes on, and of course the LED screen is going to pop on for you. That is pretty cool. And of course I have my Xbox up, and for the remainder of the whole thing, while the controller's plugged in and turned on, it's going to stay like that unless you pull up the on-screen menu. You just push that and it will play over and over no matter how many times you press it. I think that is pretty cool that they did implement that into that little LED screen for the controller, and I'm surprised this kind of controller doesn't come at a hard price of like $100 or more for it. But it is pretty nostalgic. If you're into collecting game accessories like this, especially if it's something related to the original Xbox, I'd say go for it, especially if you're into collecting this kind of stuff and you want to get your hands on the Duke. This it is pretty big, I will say, compared to an Xbox One controller. Actually, you know what? It almost looks like it's about the same size, only the Duke has it beat. But yeah, it's definitely got the Xbox One controller dwarven in there. And of course, like I said, this thing does not run on batteries. It runs off of the charging cable connected to your console. Also, you can use it on Windows 10 PC as well. So if you are operating with Windows 10 and you play Windows 10 games or anything on Steam, all you gotta do is plug this bad boy in to your computer and you're all set to go. So my final thoughts on the Duke controller. I remember playing Xbox back in the day, and this was the first Xbox controller I had my hands on, was the Duke. Yeah, it was pretty big, but it gave me a pretty nostalgic feel to it. I felt like I was holding like a Dreamcast controller, because back then controllers were pretty big, and this is definitely a treat. So I don't really see myself playing a game of Battlefield or Fallout with this controller, but it is definitely a novelty item for me, especially collecting it. And right now it's on clearance sale for under $60. So if your local GameStop carries it and you want to collect it and you want to pick it up, I say try it out. It's definitely worth a treat. Let me show you guys one last time here. That is amazing. So, okay guys, that pretty much wraps it up for today. And if you missed any updates on when we're going to be streaming and what we're going to be streaming next over on our Twitch channel, be sure to follow us on there at twitch.tv/arrowwithaname. Also follow us on social media. If you're on Twitter, be sure to check us out at arrowofficial17 or on facebook.com/arrowwithaname18. All the links are down below in the description section. Also, hit that subscribe button. Guys, every stream that we do, game stream or podcast, it will be uploaded right here. So if you missed it on the day that we stream it, it will be re-uploaded the same day. Also, this Saturday, be sure to check out our new podcast, Through the Doorway. It will not be aired on Twitch. We're going to air it on Facebook for another audience, but it's going to be re-uploaded to YouTube. So keep tabs on that. Follow us on social media on when it's going to be uploaded. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again in the future.